What if I told you there's a country where over 800 languages are spoken, where birds can poison you and roads simply don't exist? Welcome to Papua New Guinea, a place so wild and diverse it defies every rule of modern life. From crocodile-scarred warriors to teenagers designing national flags, this island packs more surprises than an entire continent. This isn't some fantasy travel vlog. Every single fact you'll hear is true, verified, and more incredible than fiction. So buckle up, because Andy Explores the World is taking you deep into a land you've never truly seen. This video was created with limited available footage of Papua New Guinea, but every effort was made to capture its essence as authentically as possible. I've worked hard to bring you the most accurate and fascinating facts, despite the visual challenges. Thank you for understanding and supporting content that prioritizes truth and depth over flashy visuals. Bougainville's bold exit vote. In late 2019, something extraordinary happened in a corner of the Pacific most people had never heard of. The autonomous region of Bougainville, part of Papua New Guinea, held a long-awaited independence referendum. The result was historic. Over 97% of voters chose to break away and form their own country. It wasn't a rushed decision. Bougainville endured a brutal civil war in the 1990s, driven by disputes over mining profits and regional neglect. The war left tens of thousands dead and communities devastated. Peace came in 2001 with a promise: let the people decide their future. That decision came nearly 2 decades later in a peaceful, democratic vote. While the result isn't legally binding yet, it put immense pressure on the Papua New Guinean government to negotiate terms of separation. If successful, Bougainville may soon become the world's newest sovereign nation, and one of the few to gain independence without violence, just ballots. It's a powerful reminder that political change can come not from revolution, but from resilience and unity. Women missing from power. For 5 long years, from 2017 to 2022, Papua New Guinea's national parliament had something shockingly absent: women. Out of 111 seats, not a single one was held by a female representative. In fact, since the country gained independence in 1975, only 9 women have ever been elected to parliament. That's not 9 per election. That's 9 total in nearly 50 years. The reasons are complex. Deep-rooted cultural norms, a male-dominated political culture, and often violent election environments all play a role. Campaigning can be dangerous, and women frequently face threats, intimidation, and even physical harm. But in 2022, history finally took a hopeful turn. 2 women, Rufina Peter and Kessie Sawang, broke through the silence and won seats. Their victories were hailed nationwide and across the Pacific as signs that tides are slowly turning. Still, gender equality in Papua New Guinea's political life remains one of the steepest mountains to climb. A mountain taller, some say, than the Owen Stanleys themselves. The world's most linguistically diverse nation. Papua New Guinea isn't just a land of mountains and jungles, it's a land of voices. More than 840 distinct languages are spoken across this island nation, making it the most linguistically diverse country on the planet. That's over 10% of all known human languages in one single country. In some regions, villages just 10 miles apart speak entirely unrelated tongues. This incredible diversity stems from Papua New Guinea's jagged terrain. Thick rainforests, steep valleys, and roaring rivers have kept communities isolated for thousands of years. These natural barriers helped preserve languages that might have vanished elsewhere. Most people grow up speaking 2 or 3 languages: their local dialect, Tokpizin, a widely spoken Creole, and often English in schools. But some tongues are spoken by fewer than 100 people, and many are now endangered. Linguists from around the world come to PNG as if entering a linguistic time machine, where ancient words still echo in everyday life. In a globalized world, Papua New Guinea stands as a rare reminder of humanity's rich, fragmented, and beautiful verbal heritage. Crocodile scars of manhood. In the Sepik River region of northern Papua New Guinea, manhood isn't earned by age or achievement. It's earned through pain, blood, and tradition. Among the Iatmal people, boys become men through a brutal initiation ritual that involves cutting their skin with razor blades to mimic the scales of a crocodile. The process isn't symbolic, it's physical and excruciating. Over several hours or even days, dozens of precise cuts are made across the chest, back, and arms. The wounds are rubbed with ash to raise thick, permanent scars. The pain is said to connect the initiate with the strength and spirit of the sacred crocodile, which is revered in Sepik culture as both ancestor and protector. Only the toughest endure without flinching, proving their readiness for adult life. Outsiders often find the practice shocking, but for the community, it's a source of deep pride. The scars are not marks of suffering, they're badges of honor. And while modern PNG is changing fast, this raw tradition remains a powerful bridge between past and present. The day the Highlands were discovered. In the early 1930s, Australian gold prospectors flying over Papua New Guinea's rugged interior spotted something that defied everything the outside world believed. Vast green valleys with neatly organized gardens, smoke rising from villages, and tens of thousands of people. Until that moment, the Central Highlands were thought to be uninhabited due to the extreme mountain terrain. But what they discovered was a thriving, sophisticated society that had never made contact with the modern world. The Dani, Huli, and other highland peoples had lived in isolation for over 20,000 years, developing agriculture, trade, and elaborate cultural systems completely independently. When explorers arrived, both sides were stunned. The Highlanders, many dressed in feathers and body paint, thought the white visitors might be ancestral spirits. Meanwhile, the Australians were speechless at the scale of civilization hidden behind the mountain ridges. This first contact is considered one of the most remarkable anthropological events of the 20th century. A moment when two vastly different timelines of humanity looked each other in the eye. The laughing death of the Highlands. In the 1950s, doctors working in Papua New Guinea's eastern highlands encountered a terrifying mystery. Members of the Four tribe were dying from a strange condition they called kuru to tremble. Victims would lose coordination, burst into uncontrollable laughter, and eventually fall into paralysis and death. Entire families were affected, and the disease especially targeted women and children. For years, no one could figure it out. Then came the shocking answer: ritual cannibalism. The Four practiced endocannibalism, eating the bodies of deceased relatives as a sacred act of mourning and respect. Unfortunately, this loving tradition unknowingly spread prions, the same infectious proteins found in mad cow disease. These twisted proteins attacked the brain, causing kuru. After the practice was discouraged and gradually abandoned, the disease disappeared. But its legacy lives on in medical textbooks. Kuru helped scientists understand prion diseases and opened a dark but fascinating window into the intersection of culture, tradition, and biology. Papua New Guinea remains the only place in modern history where love, death, and feasting collided in such a haunting way. A capital city with no road in. Port Moresby, the capital of Papua New Guinea, is a city unlike almost any other in the world. Despite being home to over 400,000 people, it is not connected by road to the rest of the country. Let that sink in. There is no highway, no continuous paved route, not even a dirt road linking it to major inland cities like Leh or Mount Hagen. Why? The terrain. PNG's landscape is a nightmare for engineers. Towering mountains, thick jungles, deep valleys, and unpredictable rivers all stand in the way. For most citizens, travel between regions requires either air transport or long, costly boat trips. A round-trip domestic flight from Port Moresby to Mount Hagen, for example, can cost over $300, a huge expense in a country where many live on just a few dollars a day. This geographic isolation also makes government services, trade, and communication incredibly difficult. Port Moresby might have embassies and skyscrapers, but it remains cut off from the very country it governs, a capital surrounded not by walls, but by wilderness. The bird that's poison to the touch. Deep in the rainforests of Papua, New Guinea lives a small, striking songbird with a deadly twist. It's poisonous. The hooded pitohui, with its vibrant black and orange plumage, looks like any other forest bird until you touch it. Indigenous hunters have long known to avoid it, calling it the rubbish bird because handling or eating it causes numbness, burning sensations, and nausea. But it wasn't until 1989 that scientists confirmed why. The bird's skin and feathers contain batrachotoxin, the same powerful neurotoxin found in Colombia's poison dart frogs. The pitohui doesn't make the poison itself, it absorbs it from a specific beetle it eats. This accidental defense mechanism makes it one of the very few known toxic birds on Earth. Its bright coloring is a warning to predators. Don't even try. The discovery amazed scientists, flipping the script on what we thought birds could be. In a place as wild and unpredictable as Papua New Guinea, even something as innocent as birdsong can carry a lethal secret. Where rugby league replaces war. In Papua New Guinea, rugby league isn't just a pastime, it's a national heartbeat. It is the only country on Earth where rugby league is the official national sport. During big matches, especially the Australian State of Origin series, entire towns fall silent. Streets empty, radios blare from every hut, and even long-standing tribal conflicts are known to pause for the game. People gather around tiny TVs, some powered by car batteries, to cheer as if life depends on it. The PNG national team, the Kumals, are treated like heroes, their jerseys worn with pride, their names chanted by kids in the Highlands and the coasts alike. For many remote communities, rugby is the only common thread with the outside world. It provides unity in a country split by hundreds of languages and cultures. Some say it has replaced inter-village fighting, channeled into tackles and tries instead of spears and arrows. Rugby league in PNG is more than sport. It's identity, escape, and for many, the closest thing to national harmony. A feast cooked underground. In Papua New Guinea, food is more than nourishment. It's tradition, celebration, and community, all wrapped in banana leaves. The mumu is a traditional underground oven used to prepare massive feasts. First, a pit is dug into the ground and filled with red-hot stones. Then layers of banana leaves are placed over the stones, followed by seasoned pig, chicken, sweet potatoes, taro, and greens. Everything is wrapped tightly and covered with more leaves and earth to trap the heat. The food slow cooks underground for up to 6 hours, absorbing smoky, earthy flavors. When it's time to open the pit, villagers gather around as steam rises and the leaves are peeled back like wrapping paper on a gift. The smell is mouth-watering. The taste? Even better, tender, juicy meat and perfectly roasted vegetables. A single mumu can feed dozens, making it perfect for weddings, funerals, and village festivals. It's not just about eating, it's about working together, celebrating and honoring ancestral ways. In PNG, a shared meal in the earth brings people closer than any dining table could. A nation's flag designed by a schoolgirl. In 1971, as Papua New Guinea prepared for its long-awaited independence from Australia, a nationwide competition was launched to design a new national flag. Among the many entries, one stood out, a bold and symbolic creation by a 15-year-old schoolgirl named Susan Karike. Her design featured a red and black diagonal split, echoing traditional tribal colors, with a soaring bird of paradise representing freedom and pride, and the Southern Cross constellation honoring the nation's place under the same sky as Australia. Against all odds, her design was chosen. Just 4 years later, on September 16, 1975, that very flag was raised as Papua New Guinea officially became an independent country. Susan's simple sketch became one of the most powerful symbols of national identity in the South Pacific. Her story remains a source of pride and inspiration for young Papua New Guineans. Proof that even a teenager with a pencil and a vision can leave a permanent mark on history. Today, her flag still flutters over villages, mountains, and ministries across this fiercely proud nation. Witch hunts in the 21st century. In the highlands of Papua New Guinea, ancient beliefs still cast deadly shadows in modern times. Accusations of witchcraft, or sangama, as it's locally known, continue to result in brutal violence. When tragedy strikes a village, like a sudden death, illness, or failed harvest, suspicion often turns toward women, especially widows or the elderly. Accused witches are sometimes tortured, burned, or even killed by angry mobs. In recent years, Horrifying reports have emerged of victims being dragged into public spaces, beaten, and forced to confess. These are not isolated cases. Dozens are documented each year. The government officially outlawed sorcery-related violence, and awareness campaigns are growing. But in remote regions where education is limited and traditional beliefs remain strong, the law means little. Poverty and fear only feed the fire. Some communities now offer protection to accused women, while churches and NGOs push to change minds. But the battle is ongoing. In 21st century Papua New Guinea, superstition and modern justice still wrestle in the dark, and too often, fear wins. Ghosts in the genes. Papua New Guinea's people carry a secret hidden deep in their DNA, a ghostly inheritance from a long-extinct human species. In recent genetic studies, scientists discovered that indigenous Papuans have some of the highest levels of Denisovan ancestry on Earth, with about 5% of their genome coming from this mysterious ancient hominin. The Denisovans, close relatives of the Neanderthals, were first identified in 2010 from a single finger bone found in a Siberian cave. No one expected their strongest genetic legacy to appear thousands of miles away in Melanesia. This means that tens of thousands of years ago, the ancestors of modern Papuans interbred with Denisovans as they migrated through Southeast Asia into New Guinea. Today, this ancient DNA may even affect how Papuans adapt to altitude, immunity, and certain environmental factors. It's a living time capsule, a silent echo of prehistoric encounters long before written history. So while many nations boast of ancient traditions, Papua New Guinea's people carry something even older. Genetic footprints from a forgotten branch of humanity, still walking the earth through them. The giant butterfly of Oro Province. In the remote forests of Papua New Guinea's Oro Province, a creature flutters through the treetops that seems more fantasy than fact. Queen Alexandra's birdwing. This is the largest butterfly on the planet, with females reaching a wingspan of up to 11 inches. That's bigger than many birds. Its iridescent blue-green and golden wings make it look like a flying jewel, and its flight is slow, graceful, almost royal. First discovered in 1906 and named after a British queen, this butterfly is found nowhere else on Earth. It thrives only in lowland rainforest areas that are increasingly threatened by logging and palm oil plantations. Today, it is critically endangered, and capturing or trading it is illegal under international law. Despite its status, local collectors and poachers still hunt it for black market profits. But conservation efforts are underway to protect its fragile habitat and raise awareness. In a world where insects often go unnoticed, this one demands attention, not only for its beauty, but as a symbol of the unique, vulnerable life that calls Papua New Guinea home. Cricket with drums, dances, and magic. On the Trobriand Islands of Papua New Guinea, cricket looks nothing like the British sport it once was. Introduced by missionaries in the early 20th century as a peaceful alternative to tribal warfare, the locals didn't just adopt it, they transformed it. Today, Trobriand cricket is part game, part performance, part ritual. Matches can feature up to 50 players on each side. Before every delivery, players chant and dance. Bowlers stomp rhythmically. Batsmen celebrate with mock battles. Entire villages join in with singing and drumming. Teams wear elaborate costumes and body paint, often with feathered headdresses and symbolic ornaments. Magic spells are even cast before matches to bring good fortune or weaken rivals. There are no strict rules, no umpires, and games can last hours or even days, depending on the mood of the crowd. What began as colonial control has become a powerful display of cultural resilience. Trobriand cricket isn't about winning. It's about storytelling, pride, and transforming foreign influence into something deeply local. In PNG, even sport becomes an art form, drumming to the beat of tradition. Living in Papua New Guinea, costs, jobs, and settling in. Living in Papua New Guinea can be both affordable and unpredictable, depending on your lifestyle and location. In rural areas, life is cheap but basic. In urban centers like Port Moresby or Lae, costs quickly rise, especially for foreigners. A modest one-bedroom apartment in a safe neighborhood of the capital may cost around $800 to $1,200 per month. Utilities and internet are extra, with monthly costs reaching $200 or more. Imported groceries are expensive, but local produce, taro, sweet potatoes, bananas, and fresh fish, are cheap and plentiful at open-air markets. Employment for expats is mostly limited to skilled positions in mining, energy, education, healthcare, and NGO work. Salaries vary, but foreign professionals can earn from $25,000 to $60,000 annually, often with housing and transport included. Visa options include work permits, business visas, and missionary or volunteer categories, but bureaucracy is slow and complex. A work visa typically requires sponsorship and can take several months to process. Healthcare quality is limited outside of private clinics in major cities, and many expats choose to fly abroad for serious treatment. Safety is another factor. Port Moresby ranks among the world's most dangerous cities, and gated communities are common for foreigners. That said, locals are often warm and rural life can be peaceful and deeply rewarding. For those seeking off-grid living, cultural immersion, and adventure, Papua New Guinea offers a raw, untamed alternative to the usual expat hubs. But it's not for the faint of heart. If you enjoyed this journey through the untamed wonders of Papua New Guinea, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Got a favorite fact or a country you'd like us to explore next? Drop it in the comments. We read every single one. Make sure to subscribe to Andy Explores the World for more incredible facts and hidden corners of the globe. New episodes drop every day and you won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, keep exploring, keep wondering, and never stop being curious.